Today will be graphing quadratics in standard form. First we'll have an introduction to quadratics, then we'll graph some quadratics, and we'll solve quadratics by graphing. Our introduction to quadratics. We have a standard form for quadratic equations. Today we'll be using the function y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Our parent graph is y equals x squared. The graph of a quadratic equation is a parabola, a U-shaped figure. It has an axis of symmetry, a vertical line that divides the parabola or the graph in half. It has a vertex. The lowest is the minimum, the highest is the maximum point on the parabola. In this instance, the vertex is the minimum or the lowest point on the graph. Graph each function below. Y equals x squared plus 2. So go ahead and use these values to graph that equation. That function. Graph number 2. Graph number 3. And graph number 4. So looking back at these graphs, we see they all are U-shaped. Some are facing up and one is facing downward. We have a line of symmetry, an axis of symmetry that goes through each graph. As you notice, see the axis of symmetry goes through the vertex. In this instance, the axis of symmetry for all of the graphs is x equals 0. And the first vertex is 0, 2. So the line of symmetry and the x value of the vertex are the same. The second one is 0, negative 2. The third one has a vertex of 0, 0. And the fourth one has a vertex of 0, 0. So in order to determine a vertex, we just need to calculate the axis of symmetry first. Then we can find the vertex and graph the parabola. So when we go to graph parabolas, the first thing we want to do is find the axis of symmetry. So we have an equation written in standard form. The axis of symmetry is calculated by saying negative b over 2a. So negative 2 over 2 times 1, which is 2 over 2, which is 1. So our axis of symmetry is 1. So to graph the equation, we make a table. We can just put this in our calculator, look at the table, find the 1, that's the axis of symmetry, that's our vertex is 1, negative 4. And then we plot 2 points to the left and 2 points to the right. So we're going to graph the next one. So what's the axis of symmetry? It's minus b over 2a. So minus a negative 6 over 2 times 1. So 6 over 2 is 3. So our axis of symmetry is 3. So we go to our calculator and look at the table. And we find where x is 3. That's our vertex, 3, negative 5. And then take 2 points above and 2 points below and graph your quadratic. Number 3, let's determine the axis of symmetry. Negative b over 2a, negative 6 times 2 times a negative 1 is a positive 3. So put it in our calculator. Go to your table, find 3, and your vertex is 3, 0. 2 points up to the left and 2 points to the right. And graph your quadratic. All right, so after we've graphed it, we can solve. Solutions to quadratics are known by the acronym ROCKS. They're sometimes called roots, zeros, x-intercepts, or solutions. So for graphing, our solutions are the x-intercepts. So first of all, we need to determine our line of symmetry or axis of symmetry. So minus b over 2a. So minus 6 over 2 times 1 is a negative 3. So our axis of symmetry is negative 3. So we put that in our calculator. We go to our table. Negative 3, negative 1 is our vertex. 2 points to the left, 2 points to the right. And now once you have it graphed, you can determine the solutions by looking at the x-intercepts. Here's a solution at negative 4, and here's a solution at negative 2. All right, number 2, it's in standard form. So now we can determine the axis of symmetry, negative b over 2a, which is negative 2 over 2 times negative 1, which is 1. Put that in our calculator. Find the vertex of 1, 0. 2 points to the left, 2 points to the right. And then once we have it graphed, look at your x-intercept, and that's your solution. In this instance, we only have one solution, one x-intercept, 1. And our final example is not written in standard form, so we rewrite it in standard form. X squared minus 4x plus 7 equals 0. And then let's find our line of symmetry. Negative b over 2a is a negative negative 4 times 2 times 1, which is 4 times 2, which is 2. Put it in your calculator. Your vertex is 2, 3. Select 2 points to the left, 2 points to the right. And then to determine the solution, let's look at our x-axis. Well, it doesn't touch the x-axis, so there is no solution.